Hello everyone. I'm working on supper and I'm going to show you what I'm making. Let's turn around here to the stove. There's a pot with some water in it boiling, and I'm going to put some honey baked ham pieces in here for seasoning. So let me dump some of that in there. I had this frozen in my freezer, and so I'm going to put that in there, let that cook. I'm going to let that start cooking. It needs to boil for a little bit, and I have some fresh snap beans right here. I found these at the store, and so I'm going to snap these beans and I'm going to cook them. I would usually add some bacon grease in the pot, but I only have just a little bit of bacon grease, and I got another recipe I'm going to make with that, and that is some sauteed potatoes and onions, and so that'll be on my YouTube channel as well. So let me snap these snap beans. Okay, I'm going to show you how to snap these beans. Some people may not know how. They may not have, ever had a garden or dealt with fresh green beans before. So I'll show you how to snap them. Here's the bean. You want to snap both ends off, just like that. Take the ends off. And I'm just going to put them in that little plate, and then you just snap the bean in pieces. See, that's your snap bean. So that's the way to snap beans. And I'm going to do this whole pan here, and I got to looking, and I may have to go with a bigger pot than what I've got on the stove. So we'll see in a few minutes whether I have to change out to a bigger pot. All right, our ham scraps have been cooking for probably about an hour, and I have the beans all snapped. Here they are. See that? Now we're going to put this bowl over in the sink, and we're going to rinse these beans real good. I've got another bowl right here that I'm going to put water in this bowl, rinse them, and as I rinse them, I'll put them over in this other bowl. Let's see if I can turn it maybe and put this bowl somewhere where you can see it. Okay, I'll put that bowl there. Now, did y'all see that flash of lightning? We've been having a little bit of rough weather, but it's springtime, and like I said, that's normal. All right, I'm just rinsing these, and we'll put them over in this other bowl. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times just to make sure that I've got all the dirt off of these beans. They weren't really dirty. They seem to be good and clean. But you want to rinse them a few times, because there's nothing worse than having fresh produce like these snap beans or peas. I'm trying to think what else, collard greens or turnip greens. And you go through all of the preparation, you pick them, you prep them, you snap them, you cut them, whatever you're going to do with them. And then the last thing you got to do before you put them in the pan to cook is rinse them. And there's nothing worse than not to rinse your produce well enough and to leave dirt on it. And then you put it in the pot and you cook it, and when you taste it and get ready to eat it, you feel all of this grit in your mouth because you didn't rinse your beans or your collards or whatever you got. You didn't rinse them well enough. So I'm always careful to rinse my fresh produce like this, to rinse it really well, because I have done that before. It's been years and years and years ago, because I learned that lesson years and years and years ago. Now, there may be some people who have never eaten fresh green beans before, possibly. And usually when you can get something fresh is usually better. And that is so with green beans. Fresh green beans are better than canned green beans. To me, they are. See, I've got some canned green beans here, and these are good, but fresh is so much better. Let me show you something else. I have some canned collards, and Mama's the one that told us about these canned collards, I believe. They're seasoned, and this is the first canned collards that I've ever tasted that were any good. But even though those canned collards are good, fresh ones are better. Okay, this will be the last rinse that we do on these, and they should be good and clean. And then we'll be ready to put them into our pot. I did have to switch out to a bigger pot after I got all of that ham in the pot, and then I looked at all of these beans I had. I was like, ooh, I don't think that pot's going to work. So we have switched out to a bigger pot. All right, and I have moved the pot over to the back burner because I've got potatoes and onions cooking on the front burner right there. So we're back over here. This is where we're going to put our green beans. Let me go ahead and just, well, you might want to see this. Okay, this is what this is looking like so far. This is our ham that's been cooking. And that is going to make these beans so, so good. We're going to drop these beans right in there like that. We're going to have a huge pot of beans with ham. Now, I want to season these, and I'm just going to simply season them with some salt. Not a whole lot of salt because the ham that I'm using has salt in it. So that's going to season the beans some. So you don't want to add a whole lot of salt to go with that. And we'll put in some pepper, some black pepper. All right, and we're just going to let that start cooking, and we'll just cook it and cook it and cook it until the beans are good and tender and the juices kind of cook down a little bit in it, and then they'll be ready to eat. All right, our beans are done. I want to show them to you. Here they are in this pot back here. Let's take the lid off. And there is our fresh green beans.
Oh, I love green beans.
Yes, Carla does love green beans. And there's our ham in it. So that is ready to go. So we should really enjoy that to go along with the other things that we have, the potatoes and onions, and Carla's cooking us a steak. So we're going to have a good supper tonight. All right, see y'all next time.